In this example video, we're going to look at review exercise 8-1 and look at the difference between the lower of cost or net realizable value rule and the market value under the lower of cost market rule. So they give us some information. They tell us the Brown Company has the following information available regarding each unit of its inventory. So they give us the selling price, the cost of completion, their current replacement cost, and their normal profit margin. And they want us first to calculate the net realizable value under the lower of cost or net realizable value rule, and then the amount that should be used as the market value under the lower of cost of market rule. So in the first one, we're dealing with really the FIFO method. When you're dealing with the lower of cost or net realizable value rule, that's when we're applying the FIFO method basically to this. So the first thing that we have to do is figure out the net realizable values. They tell us our selling price is $5,200. And we're going to subtract away from that the cost of completion. And the cost of completion, they told us, was $250. And that gets us our net realizable value. Or in this case, $4,950. So under this ruling, the $4,950 would be used as the market value in order to apply the lower of cost or market rule. So under this FIFO method, or the lower of cost or net realizable value rule, commonly referred to as LCNRV, we just calculate the net realizable value. That is the market value that we utilize to compare to the cost to determine which one is lower and therefore determine which is our value of our ending inventory. In part B, they want us to figure out the amount that should be used as the market value under just the LCM rule. So when this happens, this is kind of under this LIFO method. We have to decide which cost are we going to use as our market value. And we have three different options. We have the current replacement cost, we have the net realizable value known as our ceiling, and we have what we call the floor. So we have to decide between those three, which one are we going to utilize as our market value to compare to our cost price. So we already know our net realizable value. So our net realizable value, commonly known as our ceiling, we just calculated above, which was the $4,950. Your selling price minus your cost of completion. To get our floor, we take our net realizable value, or our ceiling, and we subtract away from that the normal profit margin that we have. And they give us that our normal profit margin is $2,400. So that means that our floor in this case is $2,550. So now we have our ceiling, we have our floor, and we need to determine which one are we going to use, or are we going to use our current replacement cost, which they told us is $5,000. So the current replacement cost is technically what it would be worth to replace one item of our unit that we have. So our market value options here. So we have our ceiling, and our ceiling we know is at $4,950. And you can see the information I provided to you down here. So if the replacement cost is between the ceiling and floor number, the replacement cost is going to be used as the market value. If the replacement cost is higher than the ceiling will be used as the market value. So think about standing in a room. You can't get above that ceiling, right? So if our replacement cost is above that ceiling, we're going to use the ceiling. Similarly, if the replacement cost is lower than the floor would be used as the market value. So we have our ceiling at $4,950. We have our floor at that $2,550. And again, they told us our replacement cost was at $5,000. So when we're looking at our options here, the $5,000 would come above our ceiling. That's our replacement cost. We know that we can't go above our ceiling. So that means in this situation, we would assign the ceiling value, or the $4,950 value, as the market value that we're going to use to apply the LCM method. So we would take the $4,950, compare it to the cost, and whichever one is lower is what we would value our inventory at.